Okay, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. All right. Anyways, we've got the Asian My Show here. He's doing an interview with Kiersey. I believe her channel's Trucking Along with Kiersey. She's a prime driver, I guess, after she's a company driver. I guess she trains, and she's got a lot to say about training and why lease operators fail. We're going to watch this together and see what she has to say. Anyways, hey, let's get to it. Boom. Oh, and by the way, this video was sent to me by a subscriber.
Warning: the views expressed in this video are not meant to offend anybody. These videos have been collected from various platforms. We don't have any rights over these videos. These videos are my reactions and opinions. If you are really sensitive, this channel may not be meant for you.
People that are training other people. Is that their whole gimmick? Is to have these people on their truck when they have a good trainee as long as they can so they could bank all this money, and it's not about teaching them? Do people run into trainers like that? Does that happen often?
Yes. I'm going to go lease so they can't search my truck. That's a bunch of crap. I'm going to go lease so I can turn down loads. Okay, you're making up a reason of why you want to go lease. Because what I think that everybody should do, you need to learn the trucking industry, and you need to learn how to drive the truck before you become a business person in an industry.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Go live.
What's going on, mother truckers? Welcome to the Asian My Show. Today we are here with Kiersey. How are you doing?
Hi guys, I'm great. Thanks a lot for welcoming me on. I appreciate it. Nice season.
Hey, I want to let you guys know that at the end of the day, we're not here. This is the disclaimer because I got to do it these days. Not sponsored by Prime, okay? We're here with someone that works with Prime, but this is our opinions.
Works with Prime? How about works for Prime? Where do you get works with Prime? She works for Prime. She's a company driver. She works for Prime. Period.
And let's get into this interview. So, what are we looking at here for people that are looking at this?
What are we looking at?
Well, that's actually my week. That's week to week. So,
okay, I hope this rain isn't going to cause a problem here, but I've been trying to let it go away, but it doesn't seem to want to, so let's continue.
So that was my training, and this is something that as a trainer, I do a team training situation, and people are under this misconception that once you get your CDL and you go to a company like Prime that does team training, that this trainers just jump in the bed and that's it. We don't teach anything. Then you have somebody who's only gotten a CDL from a school or driven a very little miles, whatever. And that's not true. For the first
Let's see. Okay,
couple weeks, I usually run maybe even 3 weeks. I'll run it basically as a solo truck. So if you look, my miles right there is like 1745 or something the first week, and 3700 the second week, and then 1600. That's with a student, and she wasn't a very good student. So I didn't trust her driving, so we weren't running like I'm.
Okay, so basically she's saying that as a team or as a trainer, a company trainer, she's making 4 or 5 a week is average. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I know as a lease operator, your average as a trainer is going to be I don't want to say double that, but it's probably going to be double that or a little bit. I mean, it's up there good. So let's see what else she has to say. I mean, I see she wants to put her paycheck and everything out there. That's fine. We're not really here to do a paycheck video, so we might just move this on here, move along.
I might run somebody else, but I'm not going to ever, 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 ever compromise my students' learning with me making money.
100% agree with her. That we're going to agree on that. 100%. You don't want to compromise that student learning, okay? Um, no, you don't want to compromise that. That's where a lot of trainers fail at, is they're more concerned about them making money than that student learning. So good on you, Kiersey.
Okay, I would rather that they train and they know what's going on. So in that box that it says trainee 1, those were the miles I did with that student. We get paid per diem. So if you add the gross and then the per diem together, because I don't get taxed on the per diem, it was $10,399, which wound up averaging $1,485 a week gross.
Okay, but that was for what, 5 weeks or something like that? Okay, good.
That's actually below what I make as a solo driver. So
Really?
that goes to show that, if you look below that, my average as a solo driver, that is 2,800 miles I did that week. That was the last week that I actually was solo. So that's why I put that there.
Yeah, I did talk to a friend of mine, and um, they mentioned that because I was like, oh yeah, training, you make this, and they're like, well, my solo guys make about that. So I guess she could make it better. I don't know why she's doing so poorly as a trainer. Now I wonder how many solo week, 9, 10. Wonder how many days this solo week is. Um, I want to go back and look at something real quick. All right, I don't see where it specifies her solo on the other sheet. So let's keep going.
September 10th. So that's a typical average week for me. If I want to run harder, which I have the ability to do.
That's a typical average week for you. No, you're not going to run harder. One, that's not going to be a typical average week. One, you're not going to run harder and make more money. You got to remember, you're getting paid cents per mile. You can only run so many miles per week. I'm not going to sit and do the math to say, okay, she can only make this, only make that. That's not what this is about. I just think she's stretching the truth on your typical week. Company or lease, you're going to have up weeks, down weeks, up weeks, down weeks. What you're averaging out, you're going to make your average there. But no, I'm gonna call BS on that, because it shows 2,800, 2,828 miles. So no, you're not going to do that every week over and over again.
Because when you learn how to manage your time and you have that good relationship with dispatch, I can do that.
Okay, good relationship with dispatch is really, I mean, I guess it helps that they don't hate you, but having a good relationship with your dispatcher is not going to get you better loads. Being a reliable driver is going to get you good loads. Not that being an unreliable driver won't get you good loads, but I'll tell you, in my opinion, I don't know this to be fact, if I've got a driver that is late all the time and whatnot, and I have a driver that's on time and really does their job, and I have two loads. One's a high paying load that needs to be done. It's a customer who fines if you're late, and a decent paying load that the customers want to relax. Well, I'm going to give the good load to the good driver, the one that I can afford to lose a little money on to the bad driver if they screw it up. So it's not like, hey, I get along good with my fleet manager, so they're going to give me all the good loads. That's not how Prime works. I've heard fleet manager gets fired for something like such. So unless she wants to get her fleet manager fired, I would be careful on what you're saying about how they treat you.
That. And people think that as a company driver, you don't have that ability. I do. The only thing I get is 10-4 thanks. It doesn't matter. They
Don't have the ability for what? Let's replay that.
So that's a typical average week for me. If I want to run harder, which I have the ability to do, because when you learn how to manage your time and you have that good relationship with dispatch, I can do that. And people think that as a company driver, you don't have that ability. I do. The only thing I get is 10-4 thanks. It doesn't matter. They don't contact me or anything. I have a video coming out where
Yeah, they don't contact you unless you're kind of a screw up, I guess. I mean, I never get contacted by my fleet manager unless he wants me to repower a load or we need a favor or something like that. But I don't get contacted like, hey, what are you doing? Where are you doing? Why are you doing it? So I assume the only reason why they're going to contact you is if you're doing something wrong. So good on her. She does her job. She wants a brownie button. I don't have one.
brand new company team, husband and wife team, I'm doing an interview with the wife, and she's telling me about how her and her husband just netted after taxes, after insurance, like $1,450 last week. You know, so they basically were grossing about $2,000, $2,100 each last week as company teams. You know, and then you still get your benefits and everything. Okay. But if you look down
and you can possibly make that as a solo company driver. Why I keep bringing this up is because this video is supposed to be why 99% of lease operators at Prime Inc. fail. And she has not said why they fail yet, but she has been on my channel before in the comments saying how she makes more money than lease drivers, yada, 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 and blah, 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 blah. So I'm being very particular on what she's saying. When are you going to tell me how they fail? So far, she's just telling how good company drivers can do. Good. Okay. It's not going to be an every week thing. And, you know, you're going to have to work hard. Okay. You're not going to just come in here and run, you know, I'm going to work, you know, 8-hour days or, you know, be off for 15 hours or whatever and make this kind of money. No, you're going to work hard for this.
My other, it says trainee number 2. That's actually my student that I currently have. But this one, she's much better. Now, if I really wanted to run and make money, I could be doing that. The highest training pay I ever had was $3,500.
Good.
Wow. So tell me this much.
The highest. At least she said the highest. I like that. She's not doing the typical YouTuber where I make $3,500 a week. So far, okay. I agree with a lot of what she's saying, and I can respect what she's saying, but there is a little bit of blowing up a little bit here and there, but nothing too bad here. Let's keep going. Oh, and by the way, this video was sent to me by a subscriber.
A lot of these people that are training other people, is that their whole gimmick? Is to have these people on their truck when they have a good trainee as long as they can so they could bank all this money, and it's not about teaching them. Do people run into trainers like that? Does that happen often?
Yes, it happens, and it usually happens. It's going to sound so mean, and it sounds like I bash lease ops, but it happens with lease op trainers because there's a pressure on the lease ops to make a certain amount of revenue.
Whether you're lease op or company, there's a pressure to make revenue. In lease operators, yes, you got to make money to survive. Company drivers, if you're not running, you're not making money. I don't know why you would think that there's any more pressure on a lease op. Yeah, we got truck payments and breakdowns and things we got to take care of, but we make more money than a company driver, so we should have more money in our bank accounts and in our emergency funds to cover this stuff. Well, let's keep going.
So, you know, you have to keep rolling. And I said this in one of my videos. I get all kinds of pay that I don't have to run for. You know what I'm saying? Like even if I'm swapping the trucks, if it takes a week for my truck to get in, they're paying me for the downtime. So I'll make $1,000 that week just sitting in a hotel that they're paying for.
All right. One, I crack up at this Asian my guy. He just kind of sits and stares. I don't know what he's staring at, but he doesn't say much, does he? Anyways, yeah, oh, she gets paid for all this stuff that whatever. No, lease guys get paid. We get paid. I wonder if she's ever been lease, and if she hasn't, how, what is she comparing this to? Because this is the thing. She compares lease to company, and it almost don't seem like she's ever been lease, so she don't know. But anyways, as lease, we get our lease, or we get on time bonuses each week. We get safety bonuses each week. We can get a fuel bonus just like a company driver. The difference is Prime doesn't pay it to us. We get it by not spending extra money in fuel. So if we run slower, 58, for instance, 60, like the company guys you see a lot of time because they want that fuel bonus, we're going to get the bonus because we're going to get better MPGs, which means we keep more money in our pocket. So we get all those same bonuses. As far as if our truck comes in and we sit at the terminal for a week, yes, we don't get paid for that, but we also get paid a lot more money than you do when we're working. So we got to remember, lease operators are basically self-employed. We don't have workers' comp. We don't have all that stuff. Self-employed people don't get workers' comp. You do buy health insurance, and then you're good. You don't need that workers' comp really. Just be careful. To me, it's worth being lease versus company. I've done both. I've done company trainer, I've done company lightweight, I've done lease trainer, and I've done lease team with my wife. So I've got experience in them all. And I'm going to say, yes, you can lose more as a lease operator. I don't recommend anyone just jumping into a lease. I really recommend go company first, see what it is, learn how to truck, learn your routes, learn everything before you do it. Just like she was saying about her trainees, she wants them to learn that. Let's keep going, though. It's interesting.
So it's different for a lease op that has to have a certain revenue. Also, I don't like lease training. And this sounds terrible. And Prime's not.
Lease training is the same as company training. Here we go. I can't wait to hear what she has to say about this.
Spit out. Tell us what's going on.
What happens,
why don't you like it?
I don't like it because it creates a strange dynamic on the truck. The lease op is the one that pays the trainee salary. The lease op is the one that pays the employer taxes and the workman's comp for that student. And yet the lease ops don't have workman's comp themselves.
Okay. Yes, like I just saying, a self-employed person doesn't get workers' comp. And yes, when you when you run a business, you pay all of that for your employee. It has when you're training somebody, they are your employee. This is why I'm adamant about when a student goes through PSD, they need to learn how to back. They need to learn how to drive that truck in PSD. So when they go to TNT, they can run and learn how to, ship and receive and learn how to comm check and do all the other various things and practice and hone their skills on backing and driving. But they should not be going into TNT not knowing how to back, because your TNT trainer, I don't think it's fair for them to teach you PSD during TNT. That's where a lot of the pad training has a problem, is they just teach, there's pad trainers where you don't go out in the real world and back and things like that. And you've got trainers that they take you out. I take my student out for 2 weeks. I don't let them back because I don't want them to learn real world backing and then come to the pad and be confused. Well, buddy, to me, that means you're confused on what your job should be, because if you teach them real world backing, they don't need the reference points. There is nothing that says they have to run off reference points. So you're doing a disservice to that student. I hope you keep that student on your truck for TNT. That way it costs you the money to train them in TNT what you should have taught them at PSD. So that's where the pad trainers I find have a problem. They don't take them out in real world, back them for a week or two or 4. You can run PSD 4 weeks before Prime goes, hey, is everything okay? you know? And a lot of people are going to hate on this video and think I'm crazy, but that's my opinion. My opinion, that's what the reactions are for my opinion. Again, get those PSD students knowing how to back. They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be great, but at least the trainer doesn't have to spend hours and hours and hours a day teaching them how to back. They're just going to hone their skills. But let's see what she has to say. But yeah, of course, you're a business owner. You if you don't like any of this, go company. And that's what she did. She makes decent money. Then do it. But don't bash and, oh, this is wrong and that's wrong. Because there's nothing wrong with being company. You don't see me as a lease operator. Oh, you're a work company. Blah. No, there's nothing wrong with being company. It's great. You make great money. You learn your skills. And then if you want to try running a business, go lease up. Let's go. Let's see what she has to say now.
And get this, if you stay on the truck to the point where the student is now getting health benefits, which some of them will do that, they'll keep them on a long time.
Yeah.
The lease op is the one that now pays for the company's portion of the health benefits for that student. So even if the student is only making, say, $800 a week, which honestly, $800 a week is nothing to laugh at, you don't just flick.
Which again, you're an owner, you're a business owner, and you have an employee. So you're going to pay this stuff. Now, what she's failing to understand is she's averaging her $1,400 a week and not paying any of that. Well, the lease guys, I'm not going to get into numbers, but let's just say, what if he's doubling that after he pays his student and pays all their stuff? What if he's doubling that after he grosses out and he nets that? Okay, what if he's doing that? Okay, now it's not so stupid, is it? As long as he knows how to run his truck, what if he's doing that or better? Or better? Think about that, Kiersey. Think about that, Kiersey.
Flick it away. But if they're making $800 a week, that lease op could very well be paying $1,500 a week total for that student.
No, not for 800. No, okay. Yeah, well, let's just, for the sake of argument, say, okay, close to that. Close enough to where we're not going to split hairs over it. But what if still you doubled your money?
Like, well, I'm the employer paying your salary, so I need you to work harder. And then the student sits there and goes, well, I didn't come to work for you. I came to work for the company. I don't even know who the hell you are. Why would I come work for you? And that kind of thing builds up.
Why would I come work for you? Because, buddy, you're on my truck as a T student, which means you work for me. They should, number one, they're going to know when they go through orientation and whatnot, they learn what's going on and how they're going to be paid and everything. So if they have that attitude, throw them off the truck and let them go home, go back to mommy's basement, and get on Mario Kart or whatever they do.
And with me as a company driver, I don't have that kind of pressure. If my student says to me, hey, I'm tired, can we take some time off? Okay, let's shut down. I'm going to tell my fleet manager, I need extra time on this load. And
okay, you are not going to tell your fleet manager you need extra time on this load. This is where I'm starting to turn red, guys. I know you guys see it. That is BS. You are not going to be under load and your student decides, I can't drive anymore. I want to shut down for the day. You're not going to send your fleet, hey, man, yeah, you know what? This load of ice cream or this load of meat or produce, we're going to just shut down. We need extra time on it. Oh, my God. You know what he's going to do? He's going to freaking repower you. Get somebody else to take that load, and when you do this again and again, he's going to be like, all right, Kiersey, you gotta do something about this. Do I need to give you loads that have 15 days on them? Yeah, and not only that, but I don't care whether you're a company or lease, you're not going to make money shutting down and sitting around because somebody's tired. Now, do you need to take a break every now and again? Absolutely. But come on, let's get to this.
It doesn't matter to me. If my truck goes in the shop, I don't feel this pressure of, hey, I got to call them every hour and yell and scream and make sure it's done or anything like that. It's just like, okay, Prime's paying for the hotel room and I'm getting my breakdown pay anyway.
Yes, they prime will pay for the hotel room for a company driver, and you do get breakdown pay if the truck's down for more than 24 hours. You get paid breakdown every 24 hours. Do trucks break down for more than 24 hours? Sometimes, but not usually. When I was company, my truck was fixed in like 22, 23 hours every time. And it might break down a couple days later because I didn't fix it right. And you do it again. So you didn't get the breakdown pay, but you didn't work. Once again, yes, you're a company driver. You make little, they can afford all that. Will it hurt them? Yes, it will. That's why we hope the trucks don't break down. That's why we put money in an e-fund every week to have for this kind of an issue. The fact of the matter is a lease operator is going to make more money than a company driver if they're running properly. Okay. Again, there's nothing wrong with being company. You're going to make good money and you don't have none of these stresses a lease operator has. So in a lot of cases, it's a good thing to go company.
Is my breakdown pay as much as I would make? No, but it's free money that I'm not working for. Just
I agree
because
to
you
that.
have a CDL doesn't mean you can teach.
I agree
And
with that.
yeah, and I took
I think-
classes.
I think they need to do what the FMCSA wanted to do a year or so ago. I think trainers should have to have 2 years over the road experience before they can train. How about that?
In college that discuss different people's learning styles. So some people learn by reading or watching, some people learn by listening, and some people have to do hands-on. So I incorporate all three of those in every single thing I teach. And then that way they're more likely to retain. But people only retain 10% of what you tell them.
What is he
10%? That's if you're lucky. That's if you're engaging.
Well, this is true, but so you have to be prepared to repeat yourself until they know that, and then it reinforces. So then you can go on to something else and repeat and repeat and repeat.
I agree with everything she just said.
Prime was originally 100% lease at one time. So over the years, as they start bringing in company drivers, the lease ops were training people, and they still do this, and they pass down misinformation, and they truly believe it. It's not that they're purposely lying. I don't put that out. They're not purposely lying, but they believe what they're saying to be true. So they're trying their best. It's good intentions. I guess that's what I'm saying. So an example, the guy that was on my truck that you looked and said, and I said we were a full company team earlier in the year, he was told by his lease op trainer that company drivers would never make more than $500 a week.
That's wrong.
That's not true. I have my pay stubs to prove it. And I've put my pay stubs out there.
I did too.
Another thing is I was told when I went company by a friend of mine who is lease. They told me, oh, Prime's going to bring your truck in every 30 to 60 days and inspect it and go through everything in all your personal belongings and make sure you don't have.
I've been there over 3.5 years and never been inspected once. But hey, if there's a reason that you might need an inspection, don't be surprised if they do.
Drugs and alcohol and all that.
Right.
That's a bunch of crap. Do they legally have the ability to do that and the right to do it? Of course. But guess what? The lease ops and the lease purchase ops, those trucks are Prime trucks. Until you lease purchase and you got that title in your name, that's still Prime's truck. Legally, if they...
That's right, guys. So that's why a lot of these guys, I'm lease purchase and I can do whatever I want to that truck. No, it's still Prime's truck till you pay it off. They don't want you doing something to the truck that if you walk away from that lease, they can't resell it or give it to a company guy because it's too fancy or whatever.
Suspected that you had drugs, they can go on and search. I mean, so that whole, I'm going to go lease so they can't search my truck, that's a bunch of crap. I'm going to go lease so I can turn down loads. Okay, you're making up a reason of why you want to go lease. Going back and forth. I have a friend who was so aggravated with the 98 cent per mile load that they kept trying to give them out of Florida. You know Florida, right?
I know Florida.
Tropicana loads don't pay anything. As a company driver, I don't care.
As a company driver, she doesn't care. Yes, because she gets paid cents per mile, so all she cares about is the mile. As a lease operator, I don't care either, and I'll tell you why. Because I took a load into Florida that paid great because freight going into Florida plays really good and and freight coming out doesn't pay as well. So when you take a really good load in, take that decent load. I've never did 95 cents. Usually Tropicanas run anywhere from, I don't know, about buck 10 to buck 30 out of there. It depends on what the freight rates are. Um, I've also deadheaded out of Florida to go all the way and pick up a shaw load out of Georgia, so which is a big deadhead depending on where you're at in Florida. But they still, when you average those to the load in and the load out, they make for a great pay, and they also are going to be more than what a company driver made. Now, will you have a week where, oh my God, if I was company, I would have made more this week? Yes, it's going to happen. Okay, just because the way the loads fall sometimes, or you might have a breakdown. But when you still take that bad week and put it with a 4 week or 8 week or 10 week average, you're going to always be way over what a company driver makes. Again, I'm not bashing on company drivers. Company's great. I was company. You make great money. Like she says, like you hear, what I'm seeing, a lot of what she's saying is true. She's just beating up on Lease, which, okay, beat up on it, but that's why I'm here to, kind of kick the negativity out of it. Like she says, oh, yeah, you're going to blah, blah. No, you don't blah, blah.
Give me that Tropicana load. I'll run it to
Give me
Pennsylvania.
it
I'll
too.
run it to Washington. I don't care.
I
But
will, yeah.
with
A Tropicana load to Pennsylvania pays really good. Washington, I don't really go to Washington. I'm not one of those guys that like Washington, which I'll tell you what, a lot of lease guys will take that load to Washington because he's going to make a shit ton of money coming out of Washington. Washington is a great state to be in as a lease guy and come out of there. I mean, really good. I'm not going to share numbers, but if I told you some of the numbers that I take out of Washington, she would throw up.
him, he sat there first arguing and then said, the heck with this, I'm going.
Some of you guys just watch this Asian Mia guy, or Asian Mai, sorry, Asian Mai. Um, he's just bouncing around. It's like you don't know where to put his eyes. He's just like, it looks like he's looking at something out in the distance. But let's see what's going on with him here while we listen.
Going home. So he drove, deadhead to Miami and went home for a week just because he got aggravated sitting there arguing. I don't have.
And that's the way a lease guy's gonna fail. Her friend, he didn't get what he wanted, so he stomped his feet, jumped in his truck, deadheaded home, lost his ass because he didn't make no money, and went home for a week and cried to mommy in her basement or whatever. That is the dumbest thing a lease operator can do. When you do stuff like that, that tells me you do not know business. You need to go a company where it takes all the guessing game out of it for you, because this nonsense she's talking right now about her friend, that is all you're doing is just letting everyone know how immature your friend is and how he's got no business sense.
Have that stress. You pay for the Qualcomm, for the navigation system. Everything is
Very inexpensive. Very inexpensive. Again, that's not a reason to not go lease, because you're making the money to pay for it.
paid for. So I met this one guy who had just gone Lease, and I see him and he's got all these cool features. He added to the truck and the $2,000 decal and all that crap, right? And I said to him, well, my God, like, you're telling me about how you get your truck washed and rain-xed every week and all this to keep it pretty, which to me as a girl, I just don't care about. I just want to.
You don't care about pretty? Let me look. Yeah.
Truck that runs. But, he says, well, Prime pays for it. No, they don't. Okay. They assume that because Prime does.
That is correct. Prime does not pay for the truck washes. I assume that's what she's talking about. You can also think maybe she's talking about the stickers, but Prime does not pay for your truck wash. They'll pay for the trailer and the washout. But You pay for the truck wash. You are leasing that truck. If you lease a car, does the company that you lease the car from pay for the washes of your car, oil changes for your car? No. Again, these are people who have no business sense and shouldn't be leasing. Now, having said that, let me say this. There are classes they have you do before you go lease, and they explain all of this. The problem is people don't listen. They hear what they want to hear.
The PO, like when we walk into, say, a Blue Beacon or a truck wash, we just give them our information and then Prime pays them. But Prime takes that out of their pay as a lease op. Prime does pay for the trailers to be washed and the washed out, but not for the trucks. If you're the lease op, you pay.
If you can't afford $37 with what you're making leasing, you're doing something wrong. So that's the average of what a truck wash costs.
For that. And I know people that don't know that.
Misinformed people. You should inform them or tell them to go back and take the lease class again. Simple.
You need to learn the trucking industry, and you need to learn how to drive the truck before you become a business person in an industry.
Yeah,
we are the music makers,
and
we are the dreamers of dreams.
All right, guys, that was the end of that. That was Kiersey and Asian Mai. Is that how you say it? They were talking about lease op. I didn't see, they said training scams. That was a little harsh. I didn't see really scams there. Pay stubs she showed why 99% lease operators at Prime Inc. fail. She did not say anything to me about why they fail. She mentioned why she wouldn't go lease or whatnot. And then it said misinformation exposed. So that's just me. You guys have a great night. It is night here. And hey, let me know in the comments what you think. Also, if there's any videos you want me to react to, throw a link in the comments. Go to the Facebook page, David H., Melissa H., husband and wife trucking across America, and throw it over there. Just put a link in the description. If you want to shout out for the link, let me know. I'll shout you out. But otherwise, I'm going to just say a subscriber did it, because some people might not want to be called out and say, "Hey, man, this person is one who turned me on to this." This was sent in by a subscriber. So hey, good at you. Don't forget, eat them tacos.